And coming up, we've got Patrick Ewing on the show. He'll join us next. All right, guys, good stuff. That's
awesome.
Good. Lunch?
Yeah, we got some time. Let's do it.
That's it?
Great stuff.
Yeah, no. This is going to be a good show.
Really dialed in.
There's a new breeze blowing at Big EAST Shootaround. It's now called Big EAST Shootaround with Rob Stone. Let's start with some social media love. Roll it from Marquette right now, my boy Woj. You know what he likes to do? He likes to bond with his team, and we're not going to do it on the hardwood. We'll get out and play some softball, Woj. You know what position Woj is playing? No, he's not stuck out there in right field doing nothing. Get him right down there in the dirt, makes a play. Not quite the arm I was hoping for at first base, but Woj showing some love. This is the new Big EAST with your host, Rob Stone. I'm glad you're here. John is here. Hi.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, what's up? You're in my shot.
Oh.
Because it's my show now.
Oh, okay.
Shoot around. Big EAST. Rob Stone.
All right. We're gone.
We got some soccer highlights to come later, I bet.
Oh boy, college basketball is back, and Rob Stone starting the show. Doesn't get any better than that because practice is starting just less than 24 hours. Jay Alter, John Fanta, Big EAST Shootaround.
A lot to be excited about. John mentioned practices less than 24 hours away. All 10 schools will be in action tomorrow in their respective gyms. Rob Stone starting the show. He'll be on the show a little later. And then you sat down with Patrick Ewing. This is a big-time edition of Big EAST Shootaround.
Yeah, feel free to interact with us. We're on the Big EAST Facebook page, at Big EAST on Twitter, Fox Sports Go. What are you looking forward to this upcoming season? What's your big preseason storyline? Give us a question. We are able to look at our Facebook throughout the show. You could be included at the end as we've got Q&A later. But before we do that, I got to tell you what is on the playlist for me this week, what I've been rolling into work with. What did Austin Grandstaff. How about it?
We got Pete, Martin, JB, and Joe. They go hard in the paint. They do. Think you can stop us, but really you can't. Me and Max pull up his water, put 3 in the bank. Shaking and baking like J-Rob and eating a cane. They crushing you up, then they making it rain. Devin and Paul, dunking the lane.
I love it from Austin. He's got a good beat. I will say, who do you think would be the best artist in all of Big EAST basketball? Austin, I mean, he's producing real stuff, but if you had to put someone on the mic, who'd it be?
Well, credit to him, because I love Blue Demon Freestyle. But if I had to go with somebody else that's got a good beat, Seton Hall's Desi Rodriguez has been in the locker room. He's got a lot of beats to him. What about you?
I'm going to go with a duo.
Duo?
Inter-school duo. Give me J.P. McCura and Amari Spellman.
Oh.
Little tandem.
I can see that. I think JP could channel his inner Eminem.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Amari gives me a good bass line. I could see Amari being a beatboxer.
I like it. Natisha Heidemann at Marquette Women's Hoop. She
That's
actually does
stuff.
freestyle.
Look that up.
Shout out
Look
to
that
her.
up.
But Austin Grandstaff, that is what is hot in the music world. Blue Demon Freestyle. I'm liking it.
I'm loving it.
Blue Demon's coming out fresh. We turn to a Big EAST NBA trade over the weekend. You've seen it in the headlines. Carmelo Anthony, a former Big EAST Player of the Year. Doug McDermott, a former Big EAST Player of the Year. They're swapping Melo to OKC.
Dougie McBuckets coming back to the Garden. He tore it up playing there in the Big EAST tournament, and Knicks fans fired up to have Doug McDermott playing in a Knicks uniform.
What do you think of this trade overall?
I actually think it's good for both parties. Melo, fresh start in Oklahoma City, and you know what? The Knicks actually got some value back, a draft pick coming back as well. And let's not sleep on Enes Kanter. He's a very good big man that'll help this Knicks roster.
On top of that, Kanter's brother, playing for Xavier this
Another
upcoming
Big
year.
East connection.
Exactly. So it's all in the Big East family. We saw it on draft night with the Jimmy Butler, Chris Dunn swap, and now you see it here. This past weekend, Carmelo Anthony, a former Big East Player of the Year, Doug McDermott, another Big East Player of the Year. They swap spots, and then Cantor with his brother at Xavier, all over the place. A lot of fun. And we will get to Dougie in a moment. We got a lot coming up. Patrick Ewing first. I know you're excited for this one as well, as is everybody.
Big
really.
interview.
Yeah. Patrick was very interesting. And I think one thing to take away from this one, folks, is that I talked to Coach Ewing. When Patrick Ewing came back to Georgetown, had that introductory press conference, there was a lot of buzz about a legend returning to the hilltop. Well, now, what's he done as the head coach? But before we do that, we take it back to McBuckets at the Mecca. In the 2014 Big East Tournament, the Madison Square Garden faithful were introduced to a Blue Jay legend as Creighton's Doug McDermott went off with a tournament performance for the record books.
How about that?
He hit his first shot, Coach. That could be an omen. McDermott, left hand.
Oh, how about that? Either way.
He is going to be a success. Tom Crean told me that about Victor Oladipo. Meanwhile, McDermott.
And Hamilton, look at that. Hamilton's talking to him.
McDermott catch and shoot.
Unbelievable. How do you cover? Like this.
Man.
Oh, that was heels on the painted area by half court.
McDermott puts it on the deck, gets to the hole. How about that, baby?
Provide a lift like this kid, it makes for beautiful basketball. The toast of Manhattan right now.
Doug McDermott with 27, folks. 27 in the first half.
The adulation deserved.
Well, time really does fly. It's already been nearly 6 months since a new era began for the Georgetown Hoyas. Patrick Ewing, the head coach, now ready to get this program back to where it once was, and college basketball's just over 6 weeks away. Coach, how hard is it to believe that season's just around the corner?
It is hard. It's hard to believe. It's, like you said, it's been almost 6 months ago I was hired, and here it is. The season is right around the corner.
You talked about it when you were introduced, and then in some interviews over the summer. You said, I'm going to do things my way. What is the Patrick Ewing way?
The way that I've been taught. After spending 14 years in the NBA, various coaching, being prepared, running style and pushing the pace, trapping, that's just my focus for right now.
That lifted tempo, your players told me yesterday that they've been running harder than they ever have before. Your conditioning program's been tough. But how much do you think that style plays to your team's strengths?
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with being in shape. The guys have to be in shape to be successful, and to be able to play the style that I want to play. I want to be up-tempo, like I said. That's the style of play that a lot of kids like to play now. Jesse can run. I have a center in him who can run, even though he's been here 2 years and a lot of people haven't seen that yet, and he shows me that he can run. And we have wings that can run. We want to accentuate their style, and I do expect them to be attentive. I want them to definitely be a better defensive team than they have been in the past. One of the things that I've learned in all the teams that I've played on since high school, we've always been great defensive team. I definitely want to get back to that staple, a great defensive team, and build everything out from there.
Every head coach that I normally talk to always says that they have that person or those 2 or 3 other coaches that they call late at night, maybe on their way to work. Who's in Coach Ewing's circle, like when you need to call some advice?
Well, I have a lot of people I can call for advice. I have, Coach Thompson, Jeff Van Gundy. I have Steve Clifford. I have Stan Van Gundy. So Jeff Van Gundy, our relationship and our friendship has grown over the years. From the day that he got the job with the Knicks to this day, that I still can pick up the phone and call him and talk to him about anything, any aspects of coaching or even life. Stan, the same thing. He and I worked together for 5 years in Orlando. we were texting the other day, and I said, I know the NBA season is getting ready to start, and I'm like, there might be a night or a day that I might have something I want to, ask you about, but you might be busy. He said, Patrick, if I'm too busy for my friends, then just slap me. So I have a great friendship and a great working relationship with all these guys. They will always respond.
What do you say when people out there say the Georgetown brand is fading, it's going away?
I don't know. It looks like it's shining bright to me. It looks like it's shining bright to me. You know what? You're always gonna have naysayers. This is my first year in my tenure. So we'll see a couple years from now what they'll say.
When you think about this upcoming season, the matchup on everybody's minds is when you return to Madison Square Garden and square off with Coach Mullen. How much have you thought about that?
He and I joked about it a few times.
And what were those jokes, if you could share?
We'll keep it to ourselves.
What do you think that's going to be like?
Chris and I, we're very good friends. We were friends even back when he was at St. John's, but we've gotten closer over the years in the NBA, in the Olympics. So I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to curse him out or.
No doubt.
No
doubt.
My team is not going to try to dominate his team, but we'll see what happens when that day comes.
When did you get the coaching bug? I know that there's a lot of stories out there about how you became a coach, but was there a point when you started your coaching career that getting into it, you said, this is what I want to do in the future now?
You know what? I think I got the bug when I was playing. I would come back here and I would teach Alonzo and Dikembe all the things that I would learn from being in the NBA. But I really didn't realize it until it was time for me to retire. And one day I'm sitting with Michael Jordan and I'm telling him, I think this is my last year. I'm going to retire. He was running the Wizards at the time, and he told me, you know what, why don't you come work with me at the Wizards, try coaching. And so I think it started back then, having the opportunity to do it full time, finding out that I love doing it.
What do you want to see your team achieve early on in your tenure in non-conference play? In the last week, a lot of people have been talking about your non-conference schedule, and there's opinions out there, but how much does it matter to start right there in non-conference play and find a winning mentality?
I don't care what everybody else thinks. All I care about is at the end of the season, do as well as we can in the Big East, and hopefully do well in the Big East tournament. That's it.
Yeah. Let's go off the court completely. Your players say that they would love to be in a remake of Space Jam 2. What do you think?
I'm not sure if they're good enough right now to be in there. I think LeBron and Steph and those guys already have that locked up.
Yeah. Favorite meal?
Meal.
Do you cook?
No, I can't cook. No, I can't cook.
I had to ask.
I like Jamaican food because I am Jamaican. I like, Italian food. Mm-hmm. I like Chinese food, so I like a
we might have to head somewhere for lunch during the season.
Like a little bit of everything.
We could just hit a big buffet.
All right, as long as you're not cooking it.
I'm not cooking. You think you could use? You got 7 kids.
Can you cook?
Not much. I can boil water. I can grill. I'm a good griller. Okay. I grill you a burger.
There you go.
You do that. American cheese.
Right.
You think I could play some post for you?
No.
See, this is why I love him. Because this is the first time we met, but 40 minutes in, you know why I like you? You don't give a damn. You don't give a damn what people think. And that's why I think that there's success coming here at Georgetown. What's your final message here, 6 weeks out, to the same fans that you gave a thrill ride when you were here at Georgetown?
Be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. I believe in my guys, but be patient.
Coach, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for having me on.
I loved what he had to say. The Georgetown brand looking right at that G, shining bright under first-year head coach Patrick Ewing. Great interview.
You've moved.
I did. We've got a new toy to play with, John. We're bringing out the Big East Big Board.
It's time for the debut of At the Altar.
You know, I've been waiting for it, John. I've been waiting for it, and we finally have college basketball starting, practice tomorrow, all 10 teams in action. And so the question becomes, when players take the floor, who is going to be this year's Justin Patton, Josh Hart, guys that come out of nowhere, break out, and get drafted into the NBA? Now, I'm not saying all these guys will go in the first round like Justin did, but they've got a shot because I'm looking at potential in the Big East Conference. Let's get to it. First up, Omari Spellman, another redshirt freshman, just like Justin Patton a year ago, and here's why I love the Villanova big man. He used his redshirt year so productively. He lost 40 pounds since arriving on the campus at Villanova, and guess what? He's now comfortable with this Wildcats playbook. He sat, watched his teammates for a year, really learned the day-in grind. Coach Wright said earlier this week, this guy right here, he's got one of the highest basketball IQs I've ever coached. Whew. This is a guy that's coached Kyle Lowry, Randy Foye, Josh Hart just a year ago. That's high praise. Put Spellman on your radar. Number 2, how about Justin Simon? On Big East Shootaround a week ago, how awesome was he? The personality, absolutely there. Well, guess what? His playing, even better than the personality. 6'5" point guard. He is a matchup nightmare, and the Red Storm really happy to have this guy. He can beat you in a variety of ways. We saw his shot, but guess what? In transition, the up-tempo, NBA style, that's where Simon is going to beat you. Run and gun, 6'5" point guard, Simon, put him on your list. And number 3, and this will come a little bit out of nowhere, Alpha Diallo. You'll say, Jay, guy only averaged 3 points a game last year as a freshman. Well, guess what? Unlike the previous 2 guys, Diallo actually touched the court last season and played in the daily grind that is Big East basketball. And when we saw him a couple of weeks ago in Friartown, he was radiating confidence. And that's what I like about Diallo. He's ready to step into this Providence team as a sophomore. We know he's a lockdown defender, and he is going to contribute on the offensive end in a variety of ways. Those are your 3. Let's give you a recap here. Breakout Big East players: Omari Spellman, Justin Simon, Alpha Diallo. That's my list to start Big East play, John. What do we think?
I like it a lot, and I think that Ed Cooley has a good problem to have at point guard with Mekhi Ashton-Langford coming in as a freshman and Kyron Cartwright as well. But you also have Rodney Bullock. So how does all the scoring intermix? That's where Alpha Diallo trying to make an offensive climb. They know he can defend, but they've talked about his game evolving in terms of scoring.
And I think when we talk to Diallo, it's going to be on him to assert himself as a scorer on this Providence team. And guess what? If your teammates see you scoring and see you playing well in Big East play, they're going to keep giving you the ball.
I really like Kyrie Thomas out at Creighton because I think that he's gotten overshadowed a little bit at times. Marcus Foster's an outstanding scorer, and on top of that, they've had Justin Patton. They had Cole Huff, so they've had those scoring presences. Now there is a void to fill at Creighton, and I have heard from those in Omaha that have said that Kyrie Thomas has really become maybe their best overall talent. This is a guy that's going to play professionally somewhere because he's a two-way guy.
I like Thomas getting added to that list. So we gave you 4 names here on Shootaround. Send in some names you think who could be a breakout player as practices start tomorrow. Send them in, comment on Facebook, get us on Twitter at Big East MBB, and we'll share them as the season continues to roll out here on Shootaround. We've also had some questions earlier today. Let's see if we can get those up on the big board, John. A little Q&A. First one coming from Tom. So as we expect, you got Villanova, Providence, Xavier, Seton Hall as your big boys. Who's a sleeper team? We just said some sleeper players that you think could come into the fold this year.
Well, I don't know why Butler's still not in that tier because they have a first-team caliber talent in Keelan Martin. He is that good, an exceptional wing. The biggest concern for the Bulldogs is their guard play because they've got some things to figure out. But Kamar Baldwin will take over at the point for them as a sophomore. And you might say lack of experience. It's concerning. He played on the wing as a freshman as more of a 2, but he has them to be the 1. And so you throw that in and you look at their guard play. They bring in a good transfer in Paul Jorgensen. They are going to be A-OK, and Tyler Weidman has established himself as a consistent post. The Bulldogs give teams problems because they don't turn over the ball. The key for Baldwin is to be efficient.
I just mentioned Justin Simon as a breakout player. I think you have to mention St. John's as a potential sleeper team. Question number 2, This is not basketball related, but our friend James says, in the fried pickle debate, is there a fried pickle debate?
Yes, there is. It's rich.
Chips or spears?
Yes, absolutely. There's a debate.
I'm not a fried pickle guy.
I am a huge
So what's
fried
the
pickle
answer?
guy,
What's
so
the
I
answer?
can speak on expertise for this. And let me tell you, folks, chips. Because they're bite-sized. Spears are too big. You need to be able to fit it with just, your mouthful. The spears, I feel like it's too long and it's too much, takes me too much. I love the chips. And I love a little bit of a beer batter on them. Oh, my gosh. And Chipotle mayo on the side. It's the perfect appetizer.
Okay. Give me
Is a pickle
spears.
a fruit or
Give
a
me
vegetable?
spears. I just like disagreeing with
Is pickle a
Fanta.
fruit or vegetable?
All right.
Is it?
Question
What is it?
number 3. Final question.
Chips.
Andrew, who's the best one-on-one defender in the Big East Conference? Oh, tough question.
Well,
there's a lot of big-time defenders in this league.
It's tough, and last year we had 3 defensive players of the year.
Right.
So if I look at the best all-around defender that's returning, the one-on-one guy is Mikal Bridges at Villanova because of his incredible wingspan. He really can guard a 4, he could guard a 2 or a 3. And that's what I look at. One-on-one defender, he can guard multiple positions because of his speed, because of his wingspan. His biggest challenge is becoming better at shooting the basketball from the perimeter, but in terms of challenging an opposing offense, Bridges can be thrown at just about anybody.
I think I agree with you with Mikal Bridges. It's tight, but also you got to look at Alpha Diallo. We just mentioned him. Can he take that leap? He's a little Bridges 2.0, very similar with their frame and the way they attack a basketball game. Diallo might even go ahead of Bridges this year. We'll see. But I think Bridges coming into the season, definitely the leader.
Yeah, I would have to say so too.
All right, that does it for Twitter Q&A. But we've got a whole lot more coming on Big East Shoot-Around. Rob Stone, he opened up the show. We're going to sit down with one of the best Fox Sports has to offer. But first, a recruiting profile of the DePaul Blue Demons. The Blue Demons welcome 3 talented 3-star recruits to Chicago this season, starting with a 6'5" wing player, Paul Reed, who averaged a double-double in high school. Reed also played for an AAU team named the Showtime Ballers, and boy, did he live up to that name. 18 points and 13.5 rebounds a game, not to mention 4 blocks a game in the Adidas Uprising Summer Championship. Next up, Jalen Butts from Fort Wayne, Indiana. At 6'9", 225, this power forward led his high school to their first Indiana State title game since 1965. Averaged 17.5 points and 13 rebounds a game in the process. And rounding out the class, point guard Justin Roberts, a McDonald's All-American nominee who scored 17.5 points a game and dished out 4 assists per game in his high school playing days. One thing's for sure, DePaul's freshmen, they're ready to make an immediate impact in the Windy City.
He does it all for Fox Sports, whether it be their World Cup coverage next summer. You see him every weekend for college football, and that just means Big East Hoops is coming back soon.
Dang straight. It's right around the corner. You guys had me doing my research yesterday. I appreciate it. I got a couple cheat sheets in my back pocket.
Rob Stone.
We're already talking, you and I are already talking what teams from the Big East are going to make it to the NCAA tournament. We're in September, for crying out loud.
Well, it's
You're
6
going-
weeks out. I
you're
see
going
4
4
locks,
teams.
and then we'll go from there.
I cannot wait for that St. John's Georgetown game.
Yes.
By the way, that is, I mean, my eyeballs, the date is circled. Let's go. Let's do this. I want Ewing and Mullen to have a stare down. I want them to wear cutoff T-shirts underneath their suits. I'm excited for Big East.
Take us behind the scenes of a night like that where you got Steve Lavin in studio, you got 2 Big East games on FS1. Take us behind the prep and behind the scenes. of how that
I
works.
mean, it all develops around Lav, right? So everybody's day, the production grid is worked around when Lav decides to roll in on time, out of his Uber. The guy doesn't drive, right? So he doesn't drive, so he has to get driven to
he
work.
gets the shuttle
every
service.
day. He's got people. He has handlers as well.
Have you ever been able to
You know,
ride
none of
in the
this-
Lavin shuttle?
No, because it's an Uber. They sit outside and they're calling it. They're like, it should be here in a few minutes. We're not getting reception. Lav is in his own world, and he'll come in with, some of us are a little more streamlined with our research, and he'll have like this bag of paper, and it's like reams of paper, and I don't know if things are printed on it or not, but it's notes, it's phone calls, it's stats, what happened last night, and that guy's all over the place during basketball season in a good way.
In the headlines this week, Twitter potentially expanding to 280 characters. What does that do for Steve Lavin?
Well, more hashtags. Number one. So
There's
Do you have
more?
favorites? I like Share the Sugar.
He needs some new stuff. He needs to freshen things up a little
Wow.
bit. Yeah,
That's a call-out,
It's not
Coach.
it's not a pot shot. I think he's ready for that next level of bringing some more things out there. His hashtag game is so strong,
It
and
is.
it cracks me up because I'll be rolling through it and I'm like, Lav, what is he doing? Like, oh, there's a picture, and I'm like, wait, I don't know. I don't even know why. Why the need for all these hashtags? What it
LA
is.
Life.
And now that it expands,
Yeah.
I can't wait to physically scroll through the tweet to see all the hashtags.
Bill Raftery, word association.
I mean, how many words?
Yeah.
Legend is the easy one. Grandfather, and I mean that in a really nice way. Look, let's be honest, it's bucket list to go out
Right.
with Raph for a night, which usually turns into a morning.
Right.
And you have it, and like you want to call your friends and like, hey, I had Raph night last night, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, Raph and I, we went out and it was, I had a Raph night.
How
and
does he keep that energy in the tank?
It's
Like,
amazing.
how does he do
I don't
that?
know what he does. I don't know what vitamins he takes, what elixir he has. The guy is just, and I don't want to make light of it, but he is legendary. But it's not like he shows up and he's a one-trick pony of, the man, and he does these lines, right? It's genuine knowledge. And he's dialed in on these teams, and he knows strengths and weaknesses. He knows if this is a 7-man rotation, 8-man rotation, 9-man rotation, this recruiting class coming in, where they stand. He is an absolute living legend who still has his fastball.
What makes this conference and this league special compared to some of the other conferences and sports you cover?
Well, I mean, it's clearly unique in that we have a very tight relationship with the conference, and I love that. And I think there's a lot of conferences out there who wish they had the relationship that the two entities like that have. Plus the fact that basketball is its sport. There's nobody else stealing your attention. It's all eyes on these teams. And I think when it formed back again, there was so much pressure put on the big giants. And I love the fact that it's the new teams that have added so much quality and value to the conference. I get excited that no longer are people saying, oh, it's the new Big East, and it's, oh, that's right, Creighton's in there and Butler's in there. Oh, no. They're now an accepted member, and it's done nothing but elevate the stature of the conference in everybody's eyes.
Rob Stone does everything. I don't even know when he sleeps. Thanks, Rob.
I'm going to bed right now.
Just going to sleep in the back. Great to have Rob on the show. Catch him, Donnie Marshall, Steve Lavin and company on FS1 and Fox Sports this fall. Well, I'll tell you what. I think the biggest thing you can give people is hope. That is what Chris Mullins said over the weekend. The St. John's head men's basketball coach was on campus with his players, along with the women's team, as they took part in Dribble for the Cure. It has become the cornerstone event on the calendar for St. John's in community service, as this is an event that benefits pediatric cancer research. It benefits Dr. Mitchell Cairo's research, as he helped raise survival rates in certain types of childhood cancers from just over 20% to more than 60% since he began his work. And Mullen bringing that out, saying that I think the biggest thing you can give people is hope to see those players, as well as those kids, dribbling around campus throughout the day, and to see these two teams before they even tip off practice, which is tomorrow, take part in this shows what truly matters. That is our Beyond the Game this week. Great work being done out in Queens. Well, as we said, practice starts tomorrow. So on next week's Shoot-Around, we're back Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Fox Sports Go, the Big East Facebook, and at Big East on Twitter. We'll be whipping around to all 10 schools to tell you what the headlines are through 1 week of practice. Our guest to be announced. That's right. Stay tuned to at Big East on Twitter for an announcement Monday. Look out for that. We'll have all that and more. For Jay Alter and our great crew, I'm John Fanta. Get ready, folks. This season is just 6 weeks away. This has been Big East Shootaround.